Yeah, thank you all for being here. It has been a difficult week in America. We've addressed it many times at all the vigils around the country, that we have to acknowledge the emotion that's been involved. We live in unprecedented times in that, an assassination, an unspeakable crime, a murder like this is covered in real time online, where everyone, even young people, could see the images. And it's spurred on quite a mix of emotions around the country. It's shaken the nation, and I think everybody can recognize that. A combination of grief and sadness, people feeling just overwhelmed by that, the trauma of it, and then the anger that comes naturally in our human emotion from that, and even fear. I've described it as feeling very much like a dark shadow was cast across the country, and certainly even on Capitol Hill. And so you've had members and elected officials having lots of discussion about this and concern, and many have been unified by that. But I just wanted to point out, and I have every time I've spoken on this issue, that our friend Charlie, and he was a friend to so many of us, would not want us to be stuck in that grief. He would not want us to be overcome by despair. Instead, he would want everyone to go out and be happy warriors as he was, to honor his memory by doing what Charlie did, and that is encouraging the free exchange of ideas, the free marketplace of ideas, by preaching the truth, but doing that in a loving way, by loving others. And that's what Charlie was marked by. That's how he described himself, and that's what his actions prove, that he was a Christ follower. He followed the teachings of Jesus himself, and not a perfect man, because no one is. But Charlie lived out those principles as well as anybody that we know. And so the outpouring of support is unlike anything we've seen. And it's been mentioned, but after his passing, interest in Turning Point USA is literally off the charts. And by last count, I think there are over 32,000 inquiries of new chapters to be begun of Turning Point USA on college and high school campuses, university campuses around America. They already had, I think, roughly 3,500 of them. And now this organization will grow exponentially more, and his voice and his legacy will be heard far wider than even that they were before. We're so encouraged by the strength of his dear widow, Erica, and the children. We pray for them. The nation does. I joined vigils, I think 3 in the last few days. We had one Friday night in Baton Rouge at LSU before the first weekend, first home SEC football game for our alma mater down there. It was a standing room only event. We had all those college students show up, and it was so encouraging to me to see their attitude about it. While they were mourning, they were also encouraged to be emboldened and to go forward and to share what Charlie had taught so many of them. The line for our vigil at the Kennedy Center on Sunday night wrapped around the building multiple times. There's so much interest in this. And our bipartisan vigil here in the Capitol last night was a worthy tribute to a man who meant so much to so many in this building. But the tragedy has also initiated a number of uncomfortable but necessary conversations about important issues like the safety and security of our members and the responsibility of public servants, and the need for political leaders to turn down the temperature and the violent rhetoric in America. Not helpful. Government leaders, and this body in particular, have an increasing tendency to frame simple policy disputes as some sort of existential threat to our country, or as causes to, as some of them have said in their own words, take into the streets. That's not helpful. That is not productive, and it leads to bad consequences. Leaders cannot call their political opponents Nazis and fascists and enemies of the state because they disagree with their policy priorities. I mean, this is something we should have learned in grade school. This type of language spurs on depraved people, deranged people who take that as a cue. And this tragic phenomenon played out this week in Utah. Whether it's in politics, government, media, or business, people look to leaders for guidance, and we have to walk in the dignity of our office, as I say all the time. And when ostensibly serious representatives compare their ideological opponents to murderous dictators and evil people, some see that as a cue to act, and we have to stop that. The political violence has been decried, and it should be across the board, and we got to continue calling it out, and we will until it does.